Hello everyone, my name is Ben and welcome back to PASSTHEauxCORD, a channel where Waitin For A Superman is the name of the next track on here. Like I said last time, I was kind of wondering if that instrumental track taking a darker tone might in any way represent a tonal shift to the album in general, but we'll have to see. This is kind of sounding more upbeat, but kind of not. Vocals are mixed kind of weird. Very nice keys on this track. I'm liking that quite a bit. Okay. Oh, man. Okay. That makes more sense. Whew. Okay, this song is pretty much about his father dying of cancer, which does make sense, I suppose. Yeah, so that takes a very emotionally impactful tone to it. Obviously, this Superman that he would be referring to as a cure, any kind of remission or something to that degree, I suppose. But it seems like that's not gonna come along because it's too heavy for this metaphorical Superman to lift. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's really hard to think about. Very sad track, that much is for sure, but a very beautiful one nonetheless. Incredibly written, very poetic, beautiful track in general. The next one on here is Suddenly Everything Has Changed, and the parentheses, I find it very interesting here. Death, anxiety caused by moments of boredom. I strangely relate, but okay. Loving those little strums going on in here. Okay. It's got a funky groove to it. Oh. That's interesting. Oh, this is so clever because he said it changed and then the song changed. That's cool. Love the way this is sounding. Wow. I'm not sure why it catches me off guard so much every time. I'm very glad that they just ended the song at the end of the last verse there instead of dragging it out another section because, you know, it does the suddenly everything has changed and then changes up completely twice. I feel like it's definitely enough. I get the picture and it's cool both times, so I think it's very tasteful that they just ended the song where they did. That much is really nice. Really nice sounding track in general though. It had a lot of ever-changing soundscapes that were occupying the mix here. Song in general was just kind of a lot to take in. The song is about reminiscing about the past and how quickly time passes. And you think about something that happened a long time ago and you go, wow, that was a long time ago. That sort of idea. Not something that's super unique in the song concept itself, but something that is taken up in a completely different way here than I've seen it in other places. And if you look at the parentheses part of the track, I'm glad that I'm looking at these lyrics on Genius instead of just listening to the album, because I never would have known those existed otherwise. But if you look at that, death anxiety caused by moments of boredom, he gets lost in thought, thinks about the past, thinks about how long ago something was and how it felt like it was just recently, and then it causes anxiety of, wow, I'm getting old, death happens to everyone, it'll happen soon. So it's an interesting track for that reason, not necessarily just in the song topic itself, but it was taken up in a very creative way. Suddenly everything has changed and then the whole song changes. That's cool as well. That's something I wasn't expecting. The Gash, Battle Hymn for the Wounded Mathematician. But we're just writing the Gash because fuck that. Very interesting start to this song already. It does sound like a battle hymn. I will give it that. Okay. Really loving the way this sounds. Nice vocal mixing on here. Okay, so that song in concept isn't too horribly overcomplicated or anything. It is, somewhat metaphorically speaking, about losing or regaining or having the will to live and the will to keep going on in the struggle that is life. I like the concept of it. Again, the meaning isn't super hard to take out of most of these songs, but the way that it's portrayed is really unique. That's something that can be said a million different ways, but having it as this battle hymn narrative and going as far as to make it sound like that, sound like it is a battle cry of some sort, like it's got this triumphant feel to it of being in a battle in some medieval times or something to that degree. You know, it's a neat concept. Each song on here has its own little, it sounds like a negative thing when I say gimmick, but like a word like gimmick, but the positive version of that. I just don't have something in my vocabulary for that. And my goddamn pop filter will not stay up. You little bastard. Stay in place. Hold on, what the fuck? I'm confused! It says on Genius that track 11 is Feeling Yourself Disintegrate, and it says that's 12 on Genius, and it says that they're all in the wrong order. Oh, I see, there's like an extra song on the Spotify one on here. There's a extra version of Waitin For A Superman. Oh, and there's an extra version of Race for the Prize, too. Oh, no! Well, I don't typically do, like, reactions to remixes or anything. I can throw some thoughts on those at the end, I guess. It's not really worth reacting to a slightly different mix, though. I was thinking that those last two songs were actual songs. Damn. But either way, I'm gonna go ahead and assume that the fuck is going on here. Look, okay, we're just gonna go on the Spotify track listing and call it a day. So, Feeling Yourself Disintegrate is the name of the next song. Either way, this is an interesting thing happening in my ear right now. I'm so immersed in the atmosphere that's going on in here. This sounds really wild. Wow. Okay. Oh, and it transitions perfectly. That is beautiful. That was a great song. I like that one quite a lot. It ties very well back into the themes of the last two tracks in acknowledging your mortality but carrying on anyways. It's the very simple message right here. You feel yourself disintegrate over time. You just end up getting older and things happen and everybody dies because life without death is impossible, as is said right on here. Just a beautiful track in general, though. And the way that it kind of kept up that battle drum rhythm, I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is what I'm trying to refer to, but like the drummer boy that you would have in like the military in the older times, you would have the drumming to keep everyone marching at the steady rate. That's what the vocal percussive nature of the opening sample reminded me of. You kept that kind of rhythm going where it still feels like a battle cry to some degree, and I think that made the song before it directly tie into it even better, and that was cool as well. Incredibly atmospheric. I just kind of sank myself into the song and everything that was going on in it. Beautiful track. Like that one a lot. Like I said, I am going to go ahead and assume that the Spotify remastered version is the right version, because you would think that if they went ahead and remastered things, they wouldn't fuck it up, I guess. And I've also seen improper track lists on Genius a million times over, but I have not really seen a wrong track list on the actual streaming service in which I'd be listening to it. So that means that the final track is Sleeping on the Roof, excerpt from Should We Keep the Severed Head Awake. And I'm not sure if that means there's another song by that title. I don't think so, though, but we'll see. Starting off with these sounds that sound like you're sleeping on the roof. You got the crickets and the frogs making noises. Very familiar to anybody who's camped and whatnot. This is very peaceful and serene. This is wild. Alright, I guess that's the end of it then. And of course that very much so seems like a moment of finality, so unless there were tracks in between there that weren't present on this version, that definitely has to be the closing of the album. I can't see any way around that. And as I said, the last two songs that I thought were different songs are not. They're just alternate mixes of previous tracks we've already heard. That was a beautiful ending cut. A very fitting one for how peaceful this record sounded most of the way through, its meditative qualities, and this song kind of reminds me of appreciating life for what it is, using the beautiful things around you to just kind of encapsulate some very nice thoughts into your mind's eye, because you had the very physical and real sounds of the nighttime that was going on in here, but you just have this idea of looking up at the stars, obviously, as you would be sleeping on the roof, and just appreciating everything. And it makes sense for a lot of ways, because in this last cluster of tracks, our narrator has had trouble holding on to their will to exist, to keep on trying in life, and this seems like a great way to wrap it up in them just coming to terms with things and appreciating life for what it is. So that's a beautiful cut. I think it's a very great way to end the album. And I feel like most of the things that are to be said about this album I have already said when talking about individual songs, because as I said before, each song is pretty separated from the last. We do kind of have distinct clusters, like how the first few tracks seem to be about scientists inventing things, and there was a cluster on there that seemed like songs about love, and obviously I've talked a lot at this point about the last few songs and the meaning behind those. So it does have distinct clusters, but it's not consistent overall. I guess I'd put it like that. The consistency issue does bug me a little bit, but at the same time, this is an album that I would more so consume in little chunks, bits, and pieces, and you can kind of wrap it all under the idea of just analysis of human life and interaction in general, I suppose. But I think the sound was very consistent, and I do like that quality about it. But all things considered, I think I've pretty much analyzed everything I can analyze by looking at each song very in detail by itself, because clearly these are more oftentimes than not separated. That being said, there wasn't a bad song on this album at all. There are some that I like more than others, and there's some songs, mostly the instrumental cuts, that, you know, they kind of felt like they should be there, kind of felt like they're just filling up space a little bit. I feel like it could have been a shorter album than it was. It is a shorter album than I thought it was, apparently. It's only 50 minutes. But either way, I feel like he could have trimmed some things here and there, but even then, even if this is a rather long album, it kept me interested all the way through, and that's especially impressive with how subtle it is, and how inoffensive to your ears everything going on in the mix is. It's very surprising that it keeps you as interested as it does. So with all that being said though, I don't know if this is normally the kind of music that I would go to. If I'm in the mood for something like this, I can definitely appreciate it, and I appreciate this album a lot for what it is. It impressed me quite a bit with what it ended up doing through the course of these 12 songs. So I guess all things considered, I'm feeling about an 8+ out of 10 on this one on my first listen enjoyment. So let me know what you thought of this album down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Drop a like on the video if you did like what you saw today, and subscribe to the channel for more music related content coming your way. Turn on the bell for notifications on that same thing as well. That is just about going to wrap it up for this one, and I will see you in the next video.